Hello and welcome to the TechGig podcast, folks. I'm your host Sukriti Advanshi, and I'm here today with an amazing conversation on how SaaS is aiding the logistics industry. Software as a service or SaaS solutions for logistics are designed to meet the needs of business regardless of size, providing a simplified, streamlined, and integrated end-to-end approach that is essential for mobile resource management, that is MRM. This also helps the company to more efficiently manage the entire cost and IT staffing. In today's conversation, our guest will help us understand how SaaS is innovating the logistics industry. Folks, I'm pleased to have the CEO and founder of global transportation logistics SaaS provider, Webxpress, Mr. Apurva Mankad. Welcome to the show, Apurva.
Hi, thanks a lot for having me on the show. So very happy to be with you today as a part of the TechGig. I think the topic about SaaS and logistics sounds to be very interesting. And of course, TechGig specializes so much into so many different areas of very, very innovative technology. We're very happy to talk about what we are doing in the area of logistics and how is it changing.
Thanks, Apurva. I'm very elated and I'm looking forward to some great insights from you today from our conversation. So let's quickly begin with, I will, start with a very obvious question that everybody is talking about. The 10 logistic technologies replace human decision makers.
Well, we hope not. We all want to still have a job for a long time to keep. But well, on a serious note, logistics technologies are really progressing very fast. I will say that they will complement the human decision makers and humans much more than they will replace them. So you can actually divide the logistics work into two areas. There is a repetitive, monotonous part of it, which definitely will help to have the computers to look at the same and the technology to look at the same and take the decision. For example, I have 1,000 vehicles on the road and they are all traveling at a certain speed, and I would like to know which of the vehicle is going too fast and inform the driver and say, please take care. Humanly, it will be very difficult to actually monitor these 1,000 vehicles, and technology can do that very easily. So there are many such tasks within the logistics world where human beings actually will not be able to take a decision because of the sheer scale of data and the task in front of them. And that's where today the first set of technologies have come in, are replacing that part, or I'll say, in fact, for the first time doing something in that area, because humans were anyway not doing much. But the exception management part of it, any logistics is about what is going right and what is going wrong. I think that is the time, there is a place where humans definitely still play a big role and will continue to do so. But they have ever more information. For example, you have much more data about weather, much more localized in your hand today as compared to, let's say, 10 years ago. And you are taking a decision in light of that data rather than just from your hunch. So that's where I see that really technology is going to make the life of human decision makers much more easier.
Thanks, Apurva. I think that's very helpful to begin with, of the entire conversation today. Tell me, what is the ground reality of B2B for SaaS?
So as we know, business to business is a different area than the consumer SaaS. And in India, all the spotlight today obviously is on the consumer sector, and so many technologies coming our way. When you are using, for example, Swiggy, or users using Zomato, in a way, you as a consumer are also part of the logistics SaaS, because end of the day, these two companies are logistics companies who are making the food reach from point A to point B in absolutely super time. And that is something which has been in focus for some years. But what is now happening is that, having looked at the consumer technology really flourish, so many companies are asking themselves, hey, if first somebody can make a burger which is just 75 rupees, reach from point A to B and track it all the way in real time, why is my cargo, which is 75,000 rupees or 75 lakh rupees, is not being tracked as easily? And that's why the B2B part of the SaaS, business to business part of the SaaS, is growing very fast, essentially adopting many good technologies that all of us as consumers have taken for granted for many years now. Of course, B2B can be very complex. It can be very different for every company, because each company feels they have the right process for doing their work and they have the competitive advantage. So while adopting a technology such as software as a service, which effectively means that you're taking a standard solution available on the cloud, many of the companies are taking their time to adopt it to their internal requirement. Especially in a country like India, people are not as, let's say, tech savvy or as educated in logistics sector. I'm specifically talking about, let's say, as compared to a Germany or USA. They also need much more help and handholding. Typically, we all understand that SaaS is something you just download an application or just log into a website and self-service yourself. Just start using it. What we have seen in B2B SaaS in India, especially, I will say, that it is taking a slightly different route. But the adoption is very good. Everybody is looking forward to it, and nobody needs to sell the concept of SaaS anymore to businesses. They all understand it very well. So that is a good part.
So, Apurva, this was about the adoption of SaaS across verticals. Now, when we talk about the logistics specifically, tell me what is the future? What does it look like? Why SaaS is the future of the entire Indian warehouses?
Absolutely. I will say not just warehouses, all the parts of logistics are adopting and they have a great future in SaaS. And let me explain why. See, logistics is a very fragmented industry. If you really go and ask how many transporters are there out there in India, almost 1 million. That means 1 million companies are engaged in the business of just transportation. You go and check warehouses, there are literally tens of thousands of warehouses across the country. When you've got so many players and so many companies working, how do you make technology reach to so many of them? And that is why the traditional technologies, be it your SAP or Oracle, have not really been able to penetrate beyond, let's say, top 50, top 70, top 100 companies of the country. But how do you reach to 1 million people? Which is where software as a service, something which you can adopt very easily with a very low cost of ownership. For example, a company can today simply start using what we call as, let's say, route management, route planning, by subscribing to an online software and maybe pay something as little as 1,000 rupees a month, which was unthinkable just about, let's say, 5 to 7 years ago. And that is why today Indian companies are adopting SaaS in a very big way at the mid-tier and the lower tier. I will still say that because the industry is so vast, it will take some time before it reaches to literally the last person out there. But even if we are able to multiply it to the scale of 10 times than what it is today, it's a huge impact. So today we are seeing a huge adoption. And one very interesting point I would like to share with you, that all the technology solutions in last, let's say, 15, 20 years were either made in USA and Germany, and then they were given to the Indian companies. Again, I'll take examples of SAP or an Oracle or a PeopleSoft. But what are you seeing now? Today, Indian companies are making SaaS, giving it to the Indian companies, not only in Indian companies, but also to international companies and international countries, I will say. And this is something which is really, really refreshing. And problems which are Indian problems are being solved. And we Indians, as we all know, are very, very keen to, we are very finicky about how we use technology, how we work, what we do, and we are very unique in many different ways. SaaS is meeting that gap today in the market without really having to dumb down, let's say, in SAP or Oracle. We are having very intelligent ground level solutions from India, and that is where I see the future is really, really bright for Indian logistics.
Thanks, Apurva. I think that was one of the interesting things that you've shared, that how Indian, companies are themselves creating it for the Indian, audience and the users. I think people who are more grounded with the Indian audience and the consumers can relate to it and can bring out the best solutions that's possible, because they know the reality and the challenges that exist in the market. So I think that's a very fair point made. Moving on, can you please understand what are the issues faced by the retailers on the supply chain visibility, and how your technology is helping?
Yeah, absolutely. And retailers, as you know, are today absolutely in limelight. Again, one, because you've got great companies like Meesho and Nykaa who have come recently and really done great. Nykaa, for example, has done a great stock market debut, and everybody has been talking about how they've created value for consumers out of literally from a very small beginning. Of course, there is Amazon and there is Flipkart, but that is the e-commerce part. In the entire focus that we have on technology companies, we also need to remember that the physical retailers, the ground companies who are setting up stores, are also growing in India very, very big way. Reliance Retail alone now claims to have more than 6,000 to 7,000 stores in India of various formats. It can be Reliance Trends, for example, or a digital showroom. And it's not just the big company like Reliance. Even mid-sized retailers are growing and increasing the number of shops. I'll give you an example of something in Mumbai. Now, you may not have heard of a shop called Avaria. Now, this is just used to be a small shop in Santa Cruz, offering wafers and stuff like that. They have become a chain. They have become like 15 store chain. It may not sound big compared to a Reliance's 6,000, but everybody is getting into detail and multiple cities, multiple locations. Now, when you grow that way and you grow to every small city, what do you need? You need supply chain. Your material must reach them in an efficient way, because otherwise, if you're going to send, let's say, doklas from Gujarat to, let's say, Tamil Nadu, that's not going to sell there. Or if you're going to send appam to Delhi, that's not going to sell there. So you need to have a right product mix, right supply chain, And all of this requires technology. And that's why retailers today are at the forefront of adopting supply chain technology, be it a large retailer, be it a mid-sized retailer, be it an online retailer or an offline retailer. In fact, there is a combination now. The lockdown taught us that there is nothing called as online, there is nothing called as offline. My neighborhood store is sending things to my home. Home delivery has become literally the buzzword in all the big metros in India. Even though I'm sitting at my home and my store is next door, right? People are sending things to you. Literally, companies like Zepto, which have come to send things in 8 minutes, for example. So given that technology today is becoming a hallmark of supply chain visibility for retailers. Let me also share that India being a very large country, even though I'm a Reliance or I'm a Tata Trent or I'm of the larger retailer, I have to work with many partners because the transportation company I mentioned to you, there are a million out there and all of them are doing good job in their own areas. That means I will have to go and partner, let's say with 40, 50, 60 companies across India. Okay, I will do that, but then how do I get visibility? They all are taking my goods. I'm sitting at my head office and wanting to know how many deliveries have not happened, for example. How many customers are shouting about poor quality of delivery. How do I get that data? Which is where the technology part of the supply chain visibility comes in. Today, tech is helping to marry many different platforms. Data from, let's say, a Blue Dart can go to DTDC. Data from DTDC can go to Reliance. Data of Reliance's various platforms can go to each other. Smaller people are taking mobile phones to add some data. It's a great revolution happening out there on the ground where everybody is trying to send some or the other kind of data. Coming to mobile, as we all know, we are having almost close to 600 million people with smartphones. So everywhere today, mobile is being used in smallest of way. You know what? WhatsApp. We all love WhatsApp. We all are on the WhatsApp all the time. It's also used by businesses in a big way. For example, I reach your door. I've delivered a shipment to you. How do I prove it to my boss that I did so? Take a photo on WhatsApp and just send it out. And people are adopting such very, very simple solutions as well. On a more advanced note, I will say, especially in retail and other industries, sensors are being put today for automation of monitoring. You put up a cold chain, you are an ice cream company, right? And you put up, let's say, 50 warehouses across India and let's say 100 or smaller warehouses. Your ice cream must remain, frozen all the time. That means you must need a cold chain. Are you able to monitor that cold chain and confirm that yes, the temperature of minus 18 degrees centigrade is maintained all the time, 24 hours a day till the time the goods are moving out? Is the temperature inside your vehicles which are moving the ice cream is being maintained? This used to be in past, well, let's hope for the best. It happens, great. Doesn't happen, we'll take the loss. Today it is changing. The sensors are giving the real-time data. Somebody sitting on this desk waiting for the alert to come and say, oh, that vehicle, going to Kolkata is having a temperature going from minus 18 to minus 12. That's bad. That's 6-degree rise. Immediately the driver can be called and said, is there a problem with your engine? Is there a problem with your AC plant? Things like that are being deployed by retail companies, and many examples are there of using technology. One thing great about India is that there are so many initiatives going on. People are really very innovative on ground, and we hope to see all of that make a difference to the overall industry in years to come.
Actually, Apurva, I was thinking on the similar lines that how we've actually evolved at least past couple of years, right? Everything for us has changed, right? From getting things delivered to our doorstep to delivering something to our relatives or our loved ones. And I think logistics and tech, the two combination that we're talking about here, has helped all of us in a big way, and is a relief, I should say, in all possible manners in order to help each other in the times when we could not see each other. So that's very helpful. This is the last one, Apurva. What's the next wave of innovation in logistics, SaaS? What do you see, and what are the things that are forthcoming?
Well, the good thing about innovation waves is that, like the sea, like the ocean, they keep on coming. Some are small, tiny ones who just wet your feet. Some take you by surprise, who come in a big way and wet you entirely, and you really are shocked to get that kind of a wave. So, good part about logistics is multiple such waves are on the way. Frankly, one cannot predict which wave will really be the large one, really affecting the entire industry in a big way. But let's talk about these smaller ways. Now, let me take example of cognitive. As we all know, cognitive as a technology has taken off, right? Today, anybody can take a photograph, and we all know what all things can be done, good and bad, by recognizing people. But why not use it to recognize vehicles? There used to be a time when we used to really have a security guard with a register, right, at the warehouse, saying, okay, this vehicle is coming, he will write down the number. He's still doing that, he's keeping his job. But now there is a CCTV on top as well. And it's been around for some time, the CCTV. What is new is people are putting software which simply takes the image of that particular vehicle, right? Notes down the time when the image is taken and tells you, okay, this is the time when the vehicle is entered. Let's take one more step further. You've now put this vehicle onto a warehouse at a dock. You're loading the vehicle. Now you're taking your own time. Sometimes the vehicle is getting loaded for 3 hours, 4 hours. Who cared, right? But no longer, because the same CCTV now is looking at the dock and saying, you know what, this vehicle is supposed to load as per our SOP into, let's say, 1.5 hours. I will give you 15 minutes more. Okay, no problem. Now it is 2 hours. It immediately raises an alert to a control tower who says why this particular vehicle in this warehouse at dock number 22 is waiting for so long. The warehouse manager gets a call, please look into it. When you take micro steps like this across your supply chain, one dock at a time, one vehicle at a time, things really change. Let me take one more example of technology. We all have heard of digital twins, right? Where you can take the data by using various sensors and take the entire data of a particular, let's say, machinery or a plant into virtual world and, literally learn about it, monitor the same. Why not do a digital twin of vehicles? Vehicles are becoming expensive. Vehicles are becoming very powerful. Today, you can get a very strong vehicle for, let's say, from a Mercedes Benz or a Bharat Benz, as it is called in India, for almost 75 lakh rupees. Don't I want to monitor my asset it is going on as it is going on the road? So increasingly, all the digital data of that vehicle, the engine temperature, the fuel level, the pressure in the tire, whether the driver is dozing off or not, is he focusing on the road, his eye movement, are all possible to take data out from that vehicle into the cloud. And then obviously monitor the same and analyze it, improve it, and of course, in case of any problem, take care of the same. VR, right? We all have heard of metaverse, and virtual reality glasses are going to be our way into the metaverse. A lot of people are already using it in a gaming console. But what about warehouses? Why can't I find out my material by just wearing glasses? Why do I need to go and open up some website, open up my mobile application and type something? I will just look up with my glasses, right? The glasses will read that particular data on the barcode and tell me what material is where. Do not, these are all not ideas in the sky. They are being deployed on the ground. Yes, they are being deployed, I will say, in a bigger way into advanced countries first, like USA or UK or Germany. But these days, these things come to India very, very fast. So we see a lot of such innovation wave happening into logistics. Very interestingly, the Indian government has been one of the torchbearers of innovation in logistics. It may surprise a lot of people saying that what a monolithic thing like a government anywhere in the world, not just India, be doing in innovation. But you look at India, we all have fastags, right? We all have our vehicles which have got this small RFID green color tags. We go through the toll. We don't need to hand out that cash anymore. It just reads it, right? Now India has gone literally from 0 fastags in, let's say, around 2016-17 to 90% of vehicles who are on the road having fastags in just about 5 years of time. Countries have taken decades. We have taken 5 years. Not just that, today I can plug in an API and take the data from my FASTag, from my bank, and know where my vehicle is. That means every time you go through a toll, right, a message is coming to your SMS, right? Same data can be taken into the cloud. That means I can know who paid how much of toll, where is my vehicle at any point of time. Now, government wants to link all these into a national platform to link all logistics partners because they want to reduce the cost of logistics with the railway data, the data from FASTag, the data from Vahan portal, which is vehicles. The government has been doing some very innovative work, and very happily, they are opening up the data as APIs for third-party development companies because they understand that the innovation will come from startups. Startups will work on particular area, particular idea, and go really deep into it. Job of the government: create the infrastructure, digital one, create the data and give it to everybody. When all these areas are happening in logistics, the innovations really out there. I would like to end by definitely taking one area which has been probably known to the younger generation much more, and they are more worried about it, but we really are not seeing so much of action in India, which is the climate change, right? We all talk very nicely about climate change, something should be done about it. But what? Logistics accounts for 17% of greenhouse gas emissions anywhere in the world. And in India, it's actually higher because we do not run very clean logistics and our logistics intensity is higher compared to, let's say, a Europe or a USA. How are we going to monitor the entire carbon footprint of various steps in logistics? See, we are very happy to get a package from Swiggy in no time and eat one gulab jamun. But there is a cost to the climate of one gulab jamun moving 5 kilometers for you, right? How are you going to monitor it? How are you going to mitigate it? Can Swiggy not, for example, invest into EV scooters, which incidentally they are doing, thereby at least not spending on petrol and use renewable energy. So these are the areas which are going to be really the next wave of innovation for logistics. And I'll say in 3 to 4 years of time, we will see much more action around it. Today, probably most of the industry is being led by older people who are not yet very keen on. If they are keen, they are not really doing much about climate change. But when the next generation comes in, people who are 16, 17, 18, 21, 22 today, when they come out and become decision makers in next 5, 7 years, you are going to see a lot more focus on the entire climate change impact of logistics. So I think it's a great way forward today, and we look forward to all these things happening in the next few years of time.
Apurva, thank you so much for touching upon a very sensitive topic which no one actually talks about. And I think climate change is something that has yet not created a buzz, unfortunately. And it's very important for leaders like you to consider this fact and at least strike the conversation that's required, because in the end, it's our lives that are going to be hampered with it. So thank you so much for sensitively and very smartly touching base with the question that I asked you, Apurva. And thank you so much for being here for the conversation, Apurva. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you about the entire SaaS and logistics innovations, Apurva.
So great pleasure, and thanks for having me over here. And happy to share my views, and I look forward to feedback on the same. And today, the world out there, there are so many people with so many good ideas. I hope they will comment on what we have said. Thank you.
Audience, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and had some different learnings with this episode. Stay tuned to TechGig for more tech updates. Till then, I'm signing off. Bye. Please take care.